Hello, this is Dale Matthews. Welcome to Mission Central, and here's Mike Jones.
Hey.
That's a great intro. Okay,
Thank you.
let's do that when we actually go on the air.
Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's go.
Hello, this is Dale Matthews. I'm at Mission Central, and here's Mike Jones. Want to do it again?
Sure. Yes. I didn't get it because I didn't get it well. Let's
Okay,
do it
so
one more time.
We have got news for you from all over the universe tonight, everywhere from Cape Junction to Pluto and beyond. And we're also going to be talking about social media. One of the first things we're going to show you here, I'm looking at, and I've been keeping this up, a nerd that I am, I've been keeping this up for a little while. This is about the New Horizons mission that flew by Pluto and took a bunch of pictures. And we have some cool pictures for you that they took the flat surface that they had and they wrapped it around a sphere to do a simulated flyover of Pluto. I think it's cool, and Mike has that footage. Let's watch that footage, Mike. I don't see it.
You don't?
Oh,
there
was no sound.
Yes.
Okay.
Here, let me restart that.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's cool. There's no sound in space.
Yes. I was going to turn it up so you could hear the sound of the spacecraft engines roaring.
Yeah, well, there aren't any spacecraft engines.
That's
roaring.
right. There isn't.
They won't roar till it turns around. We're going to show you something about that. I think that's kind of cool. Ice mountains.
Yeah, ice mountains, yes.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, if they did this in Hollywood, it would look even better. Now, what's this big blank expanse coming up? It's the end of the picture. They couldn't wrap any more around that sphere. That was it. Do it one more time, Mike. That's very cool.
Okay, I will. There we go. Starting from the beginning.
Oh, look, there's a big black area. No, it's not.
So these ice mountains, some of these, from what they said, are like 10,000 feet high.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty high, big block of ice.
That's a big block of ice, buddy.
Do we have a block of ice that's bigger than that on Earth? I'm not sure that we do.
During these weather conditions, we don't.
Right, yes. But wait till the sun turns off in 2020.
Yeah, but the sun is a tiny little dot. Where's all the light coming from?
Yeah, that's it. Well, they had onboard, lights, like camera lights, and they're lighting up the surface. Yeah, come on.
What, a flashlight or something like that?
Listen, you know what? You just got to go with it, Dale.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
they have lights on
we don't
they have lights on the spacecraft, right?
If we fake the news, we tell you that we're faking the news. Okay, so this is not fake. This is not. This is indication that Australia was there first. See this outline on the surface of now, this was taken with
we don't do the fake news here.
Oh, come on now. This was taken with the spacecraft going toward Pluto. It wasn't till we passed it and it turned around because this is a vast featureless plain with some ice mountains. Right. When we passed by, the Plutonians knew we were watching. And the side that doesn't face us, they didn't know we could turn around, ends up looking like this. Aha!
Yes.
Now we're going to have to go back.
Yes, because it's inhabited, and there's probably oil and gold and dolphins and whales and hurricanes.
Gold dolphins and oily whales.
So I see at least one hurricane there in the.
It's an amazing picture, isn't it? This is really amazing. That's
and how is it that the light of the sun is getting onto the backside of Pluto there? How's that working?
All the science I don't understand. It's just my job 5 days a week.
Yes.
Right. Elton John fans. Right. So that's cool. Now we're going to have to go back. That was the parting shot. This is that's obviously the Earth. And this is the real Pluto, which is a lot less interesting than that other picture, but that's what we have.
Yes.
So now I'm going to switch back over to our mission control mode. Yeah, there we go. And so we have some exclusive
satellite imagery
from Mission Control. When they were all watching their monitors, some guy was breaking into a Pepsi machine. Show them that, Mike.
Yeah. Yes. Isn't it amazing that the Google satellites were able to pick this kind of detail up from
Right.
space?
Now, this is actually out in Cape Junction. It was put up on the internet by Chief Oak and those folks at the Illinois Valley Fire Department. This is a guy that got $50 out of this Pepsi machine. Everybody keeps calling it a Coke machine. It's obviously not a Coke machine. So let's get the news right here.
If one can read. Oh, yes. And Dale, Dale's a big Pepsi fan. Dale, do you have a Pepsi in your hand right now?
I do, but I'm watching this black and white footage here.
Oh, gotcha.
This is really pretty high resolution. Remember the picture we had of the people that were stealing the anti-levy signs?
Yeah, wait a minute. My pants are oh, wait. Oh, I just happen to have a crowbar in my pants. And
yeah, or it just looks that way.
Open this up. Oh, that's how. Oh, now I'm going to shove this back in my pants because, then people won't see that I have a crowbar, even though I'm tearing into a Pepsi machine.
Are you just happy to see me?
Ridiculous.
Yes, right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So they say that they know who it is, that because of the miracle of Facebook, they know who it is. They know he left here with the $50 and change to go off to California. And so they cut the guy. Well, no, they didn't catch him, but they know who it is. Pretty good image of him, I'd say. And
yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
He got inside.
So you see it here. We bring you the news. Now, how can anyone call this a Coke machine? Oh, whatever.
Yes, it's pretty clearly a Pepsi machine. Oh, he grabs the cash box. Hey, how about, keeping, a nice, refreshing Pepsi?
He didn't even leave with the Pepsi. That's right.
He didn't do that. He just grabbed the cash box and, oh, wait a minute. Now he's coming back. Oh, wait a minute. I left the door open. We can't do that because then, how your mom tells you don't leave the refrigerator door open. It's going to cost us a fortune. Wow. What, did he steal the whole wiring harness out of the darn thing?
It looked like it, didn't it?
Wow.
I haven't seen this video at all.
Some would say this guy's an a-hole or something.
People in social media have been saying that.
Yes, they have been saying. They've even been singing it.
Yes, and so what happened was the Chief Oak has been in contact with the sheriff, Dave Daniel, and Dave Daniel apparently said to Chief Oak that he will see if their contract deputy out in Ivy can look at that. So isn't this cool? We're bringing this. The whole thing is kind of neat because you don't need to wait for something to appear in the Daily Courier weeks later, or they're going to tell you about it or they're not. I mean, that wasn't exactly cutting edge news, but there is something happening right now during this live show at the City Council chambers for Grants Pass, and KOBI decided to cover the story before it happened, and then but one of the city councilors has a dire warning for you about not watching social media or jumping into conclusions on places like the internet. I don't know who he means, Mike. How can he possibly? I don't know, but let's listen to his version of what you should do and not do. Only listen to government. Go ahead.
Mentioned the possibility of a sales tax to an Oregonian.
You get the general vibe because that's kind of Oregon's thing. Like, we don't have sales tax, we don't pump our own gas.
But a sales tax could become a Grants Pass thing.
More permanent way to fund public safety. Something that doesn't have to come up for renewal, that we can depend on.
Funding public safety has been an ongoing debate in Grants Pass and Josephine County for years. And City Councilor Dan DeYoung says now is the time to make a long-term decision.
Do we sit around and wait for another proposal from the county? No, we're going to take the initiative, and we're going to come up with something for the people to vote on.
Right now, a sales tax
Look at all these cutaways.
Is ironing out the details. DeYoung says nothing is set in stone, but they're looking at a 2 to 3% tax.
We are trying to limit it to the first $1,000 of any purchase.
The new tax would eliminate the city's current $1.79 public safety levy and also make the utility tax that goes towards county jail beds a thing of the past.
And we're
Sure
going to
they
get
are.
some
Of course.
serious property tax relief to the property owners in Grants Pass.
Local businesses
It's not
will
a
bear the
tax, it's
brunt
relief.
of the change, but DeYoung says he thinks they could benefit.
We're going to give you a 5% rebate on that.
A kind of administration fee for the extra work.
An
A local
administration fee.
business manager says she wouldn't mind.
It's not going to deter too much. It's not going to be like that large of a change.
A positive outlook, but DeYoung knows there's already negative tax fuel chatter around town.
And there's going
comes
to be
the
a lot of
warning.
negative buzz because you know what? There's a lot of people that are not going to be fully informed. And when they're not fully informed, they're going to put out bad information.
But he hopes Tuesday's public forum will help lay out the facts, not the rumors.
Ballot language is what everybody needs to focus on. Not hearsay, not the internet, not Facebook.
In Grants Pass, Taylor Ryan, NBC 5 News.
No, wait a minute. Who do you think he's talking about there? Hearsay and not Facebook and not the internet, Mike?
Yeah. Well,
listen to your government.
yeah.
Only your government.
Here's the problem with this is that, they say they're going to, we're just, there's not going to be any more tax levy, any more public safety levy for the people in Grants Pass. No more extra on your water and sewer bill. Sure. We believe that. Here, let me just tell you, you Oregonians, because I'm from California, you haven't fully accepted me because I'm from California. But let me tell you what happens in California. They sell this stuff to you with flowery language, and then you regret it forever after.
Government would sell you something with flowery language that you'd regret later?
Yes. I know, as shocking as that seems.
Don't listen to us. Don't listen to us. Listen to channel, that was 5, was it? Listen to
Yes.
channel 5 only, and only listen to your city councilors because they have your best interest in mind.
Yeah, and he said, the business owners will, or the report was the business owners will bear the brunt of the change.
Yes.
And it's because there won't be any folding money left. All you'll have is change.
All you'll have is change. That's a good one,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
That's real good.
Well, and listen, this isn't going to kill anything, but interesting observation, because I was listening to Bill Meyer this morning, and there was a guy on there who owns the coin shop right down here in town. I forget, he's a big advertiser over there, and I could think of his name probably off the top of my head any other time except for now when I want to. But anyway, he was talking about, because he's down there in the heart of the downtown, he says he sees some resurgence going on. Things are picking up in the downtown.
Wait a minute. There's insurgents downtown.
Yes. Well, there has been insurgents in the downtown for some time, but no, he meant resurgence of the economy is what he meant.
Really?
So, which is great. But why check that instantly? Why don't we just let ourselves have a little bit of a runaway expansion for a while before we check it with a tax to slow it down? Because listen, you know what, a couple of pennies out of $1 doesn't sound like anything, but when you start taking that out of it, you're pulling momentum out here. Clearly.
Well, I know why they're doing it. I know why. It's just like if you're at the Boatnik, okay, or you're at the Memorial Day Parade in Cape Junction, and they've got this clown car pass by. Maybe you've got to push it to get it going, but as soon as it gets going, everybody wants to pile on top. All the city councilors are piled on. Come on, let's go. And then it breaks down again. But they've got to ride this thing. And if there's any momentum at all, any extra cash, they're going to want part of that. Government.
This is really the sad story. Ultimately, this battle in between, freedom and government is a lifetime thing. And I think the reason why I'm so anti is I understand that some of it is necessary. You have to administrate things, stuff like that. But if you can be as hostile as possible towards it and keep it very, very small. I forget who it was that said that they wanted to have its government to be small enough so they could strangle it in a bathtub.
Oh, yeah.
I
Great
forget who
saying.
said
We ought to know who said that, because that's a great
Yes.
saying.
I forget who said it, but it's you know, you want to have it small enough to where it's something that you can deal with. Right now, it's this monolithic blob that just rolls over and sucks up and absorbs everything.
But if you want to limit the size of government, then you're an anarchist that's
I
only
know
interested in everything going to hell. I mean, really. I mean, just
Yes,
you know,
I know.
you are anti-government. You're an insurgent instead of a resurgent.
Yeah, no, I know. And this is the thing, is that's how they see me. But you know, I'm only getting to this point of being this anti because of the fact that we just keep rolling down through the decades of my life. I have seen it get worse and worse and worse. And, you know, I remember, you know, I had pretty conservative thinking around the year 2000. And, but did you know that since 2000, the size of government has doubled? I can't remember thinking at that time around 2000 that yes, government is not big enough. I probably would have been thinking at that time that it was too big by half, even so. So right now that means it's 3/4 too large or something, somewhere along those lines. I just think that we can get by with a hell of a lot less than what they do. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people that can come up with an argument that Grants Pass needs a sobering center. Okay. There's a lot of people who do. Oh, and it's grant money. It's no sweat off of you. It's not going to cost you anything. Well, you know, who pays that money to government that ultimately gets kicked back in a grant somehow? Well, if we don't get the grant, then somebody else will, you know, but after a while, you have all of these things stacked up, which are burdens. Added burdens of government on people, you know, and on business and on the economy.
It's just a little bit at a time, Mike.
It's a little bit at a time.
The fact that they add on a very small sales tax, this will eventually go away or dissipate, or maybe they'll cancel it later. No. What makes you think it's going to keep growing?
Now, I do know who said this. Milton Friedman. There is nothing so permanent as a temporary government program.
That was pretty smart for a guy that he ran a musical comedy show, wasn't that it? What was it on in the 50s?
No. You're thinking of Uncle Milty. You're thinking of Milton
Berle.
Milton Berle. That's it. That's right.
I wasn't around then, but you know, I could watch kinescopes of the old shows. There are some people here who may have seen him when he came out in a wig or whatever it was that he did.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So trust your government. Do not go to the internet. Don't go. You're on the internet now. What are you doing on here? Don't listen to this kind of analysis just because we're showing you videotape.
It's already too late for you. It's already too late for you. You're in the conspiracy zone. No.
Sarah Walker has warned you.
Our next segment,
this show, it's a tragedy. Just watching it's a tragedy.
Our next segment's about chemtrails. You know, I mean, it's all over for you. Credible news, you left that behind a long time ago.
Sure.
So just sit back and enjoy it.
Okay, sit back now and watch a show about chemtrails. We're off the air, Mike. Okay, that's the government. Okay, so can you trust all the people that are around you that said, trust me, I'm on your side? Well, I'm going to push for you. Absolutely. And so we'll show you a little clip that we have. A number of people actually sat in this meeting in the little back room. And they were there. And afterwards, they said, so what did you see? Well, I don't really remember that Jack Swift said much of anything to the commissioners. What? You were there. You know, when they said something, you came to this meeting to see what it was he was going to say. You can't speak. Why did you come to the meeting? Well, I don't really remember what was said. All right, why don't you take a look at the videotape? Because that's what we have. We have the video. Don't trust the videotape. Well, thanks, Dan DeYoung, but I think we're going to look at the videotape. So in this case, I'll tell you generally what's going on. Who is this guy, Jack Swift, and what did he did? Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, hang on a second. Before you go there, just everybody should know that Dale has got some connections downtown. And so everything that happens tonight, we are going to digest here tomorrow, and we're going to have the highlight clips of it. Right, Dale? Tomorrow night?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, no, maybe so.
The meeting that's happening.
Yes.
All right. Here's the theory. The meeting that's happening tonight at the Grants Pass City Council is being taped right now.
Yes.
And we will be one of the recipients. So the fact that you're not sitting there in person with Dan DeYoung, only trust us, or the fact that you're not going to watch the government videotape of that, we're going to show you stuff. And yes, why don't you show us the entire cut? If that's what you want to watch, go watch it live or watch their replay. We're going to show you bits and pieces of it. If you want to sit and watch 2-3 hours of it, please do. We're going to cut out highlights and show them to you. It'll be out of context. It's still their words.
Listen, it's gonna contain the salient facts of what took place.
The salt water facts.
Right, the salt water, and that's all you really want anyway.
The salient facts, right?
Because but I can guarantee that it will raise your blood pressure.
All right, so
salt is like that; it does that to you.
Here's what we know. All right, so local lawyer Jack Swift was acting as the vice chairman of the Southern Oregon Resource Alliance, SORA. Mm-hmm. And he was trying to encourage the Josephine County Board of Commissioners to move legally against the Federal Bureau of Land Management, BLM. Good move. Let's do that. In exchange for following his plan, that they would send a letter to the federal government demanding various things that need to be done, that a number of us have said this is a good idea. Swift offered to kind of cut his ties and relationship with groups that were fighting against higher property taxes. He did. Yeah. If you send this letter, you'll hear him say it. You send this letter, then I will campaign, Jack Swift said to them, to increase county taxes. What? No, that's not possible. How can the head of the Southern Oregon Resource Alliance be making a deal with the county commissioners that they just send a letter that he will campaign for higher taxes? Well, I'll tell you why. Because he was already involved in pushing for higher taxes at that time. Here's the clip so that you can see it in context. Go ahead and play that clip, please, Mike.
I would go along with a 3-year tax increase, campaign for it, do everything possible to make it happen if litigation were underway. And that would be my answer to that. And you say, who's going to pay for it? Taxpayers will pay for it. But you can't come to me and say, the government owes us all this stuff, and they're not paying, so you pay. No. And you don't even have to win on the litigation. But if you're fighting for what's ours, to the ability that you have, we support you. I think it'll work.
So what's happening there?
Now, is he suggesting that this tax increase be to fund the lawsuit that's going to be, against the federal government to free up resources? Is that what he's saying there?
That was part two. What he said, but that was part two of his plan, because it's I don't know if you want to watch an hour meeting, you let us know and we'll tell you. His plan was, if you agree now to send a letter, and it doesn't even matter if you win, you heard him say that, it doesn't even matter if you win. The fact that you send this letter will be more than enough, and I will get my SORA people and other members of the anti-levy movement, will vote for the levy, as long as we know, we can trust that you sent a letter, even if it doesn't work.
How much does that cost?
Oh, that's going to, it'll be a 3-year levy, right? 3 years.
No, wait a minute. No, I was going to say, how much does it cost to send a letter?
They do it all the time. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, so what costs would be incurred in this litigation to the county?
50 cents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then he said, then I will come back, and every year, Jack Swift said, he will push for another levy to add on to that one to help defray the costs of this fight against the federal government. Now, maybe you think that's a good idea, but the commissioners thought this is a terrific idea because we get our levy, and we'll have anti-levy folks pressing for passage of the levy because we sent a letter.
Well, wait a minute. So how come this didn't materialize?
Play the next tape and you'll see why.
Okay.
I talked to a trial lawyer in Portland when this first came up, and to even start on the case, to do the research, to get a reputable firm to do it, because we don't have the staff or expertise to do it, so you have to hire somebody. Nobody's gonna do it for free. It's almost, they would say, okay, we want $50,000 now, and in 3 months, we want another $50,000. And by the time you're into the research, you're $100,000 in just to get the research to get the case filed. So, you're looking at lots of money, and then by the time you start actually getting into a court action, and all these people are throwing paper back at you from these groups, because that's what they do. They will bury us, and we don't have the staff for that. We can't afford to pay the staff for that.
Even when we win, even when organizations get together, American Forest Resource Council, Swanson Group, Boise, and all these, what do they really get? They may win a case, but then there's just one more behind it.
Exactly.
It seems like
you can win, but if you can't get anything, what have you won?
But I think the element of trying is a pretty important thing that we can't avoid. The idea that, well, maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we will.
Well, I like also
strategic, but
the commitment that is aired to support a levy for a limited period of time to specifically address this particular issue. So that would cover some of these costs that might be, that are beyond our abilities now. But there is a willingness to lead that charge. That I think, okay, that's good. I mean, it's a whole lot better than.
And if I was a taxpayer, I can agree. I'd be like, I would, cumulatively pay $20.
Yeah.
There's $20 if we had it as a percentage or something of the levy or whatever that people would put together. That sounds like a reasonable thing.
Well, I really don't like the defeatist attitude because, I mean, if you just concede that there's not only that is if you win, there's nothing to be gained from winning, that you're just going to get, piled on with another lawsuit. I mean, it is demoralizing that here's this huge monolithic beast that, I mean, they wouldn't even notice the cash that it takes to squash you like a bug, but yet for us to come up with the money to fight them is a difficult thing. Listen, if they are able to use our funds to fight us, why don't we have access to that same quantity of funds to fight back?
Because if it's not coming in as a levy, these commissioners aren't interested in, even if it does. How many of us have said,
I'm talking about the federal government. You're talking about local.
I do. Well, right. I am. Also, we have some money here too. We just got that $1 million in from forest funds that could go to the sheriff, but it's not going to go to that. Apparently, it's going to go to the general fund. Okay, and it could go to the general fund to do this. $1 million. Yeah. Can you think of things we could do legally with $1 million to fight?
Listen,
but these guys are not going to do it.
When she was saying 50,000 for this and 50,000 for that, I've seen them blow off a few $100,000 on software that's garbage.
That's correct.
I mean, they could have put it towards this and been way ahead of the game.
They were convinced themselves that was a success because now we know what we don't want to do. How many of you out there have said, why don't the commissioners at least write a letter to the federal government? Why don't they fight for us? Why don't they do this? Here's your answer. They're not going to do that. They don't want to do that. Simon has other aspirations after Josephine County. That's the case. And these other guys, well, you've just heard him say, now, But the point of this wasn't so much, let's all despair and just open our wrists or whatever. That wasn't the point. The point was that following this meeting, Jack Swift, who made this, was trying to make a deal with them. No, wait a minute. Why is he making this deal? Well, as it turns out, what we found out was that he was already part of that pro-levy movement. What? Not Jack Swift. Yes, Jack Swift. He was one of the people to help author that levy. Because I personally talked to some of the people running the levy. One of the people wanted to be identified, no problem. The other did not. Okay, you're just going to have to live with that. One of them that wanted to be identified was Pat Fahey, the guy that said, I've never heard Dale Matthews bring anything up about the budget at a budget meeting. Okay, so is he trustworthy? I don't know. But he said, yes, Jack was involved in helping as a lawyer, go through the language of the levy to be sure that it's right and that it's written in a specific way. He's a lawyer. Okay. Now, the question is, whose side is he on? But that's another question left for another time. This is the same guy I mentioned to you, the DOS group, Dittmer, Ockenden, Swift. Many people have said, well, when we had the chance, why didn't we try to get enough signatures to recall all 3 commissioners, or maybe 0, 1, 2, or 3? That was our suggestion. We suggested that. I went to a meeting with Dittmer, Ockenden, and Swift, and I suggested that, and they couldn't get me out of there fast enough. We're not going to do that. Why? We're certainly not going to. We can work with Simon Hare. For those of you who think that you cannot work with Simon Hare, Jack Swift is his guy. And absolutely convinced that's the case. Okay. And back this levy. He was that levy 2 levies ago. He was one of the authors. He was one of the people who helped vet the whole thing. What does a lawyer do when he helps vet something? He is part of the authorship process. He was one of the authors. And then when he ran for commissioner, he was using the same logo and sign and design of the anti-levy people. Really? How do you have it both ways, Jack Swift? So what has that got to do with this? Nothing? Well, actually it does. What happened is, one of the things that we've noticed is that the faster news that's not always checked out happens on Facebook and the internet. You're watching one of the results of that right here. And Jack Swift was involved in a Facebook group where people would exchange political ideas. I don't think that one exists anymore, but everybody on there was allowed to use a pseudonym, and he was using the pseudonym Sidewinder, and there were other people on that site too. And Sidewinder was questioned on there. Everybody knew that that was Jack Swift. It was Jack Swift's right. Everybody knew that it was Jack Swift. So I said to him, weren't you involved, and aren't you now involved in helping vet this levy? I mean, we've heard that you were. We saw the videotape, and his first reaction was to deny any of this stuff. I mean, there's the tape. That sounds like Keith Hick. I deny you can record me with videotape, right? And then he tries, well, I'm not Jack Swift, and neither is my wife, and none of these things happen, and I don't think that guy, Jack Swift, would ever do anything like this. But he had done it, and he was trying to hide behind a pseudonym. Well, so we did a story about it, put it out there for everybody to see on our internet page, badcounty.com, so that people could see for themselves what it was that his responses were. That didn't work out so well for him, and actually didn't work out so well for that Facebook site, because people there felt like, gee, I guess I can't maintain my anonymity because I named the guy. I'm not under any restriction not to name the guy. I did name the guy. I said this is, and they all knew anyway.
Yeah, and what's weird is that who cares about that now? I mean, everybody on Facebook, there's a few people that have pseudonyms on there, but for the most part, people are who their name tag says they are, and I think we're all better off that way than because the anonymity. I mean, listen, it is scary and contentious enough on Facebook, knowing who people actually are. If they had the opportunity to be anonymous, that just lets them be nastier and
Well, the usefulness of this thing just came to me today. I don't know why I hadn't seen it in this perspective. I stayed away from these places. When I did the story about this thing about Jack Swift denying he was involved at all, I never was involved. He actually said that meeting with Akinen, Swift, and Dittmer never took place. Jack, he just lied, okay? And he said that at a weekly business session. That was not true. Ward Akinen, well, he says lies about me. No, you were there. I was there. I have witnesses. It happened. Okay. No, we didn't shoot any videotape. They weren't going to allow that, but yes, it did happen. And the reason that you didn't get a bigger recall, the reason Simon Hare is still in office, the reason a number of these things happen is because these guys did not want Simon Hare recalled, or even the chance of it being recalled. Because as they said, we can work with this guy. So if you feel, oh, he's my favorite, then you owe them a debt of gratitude, especially Jack Swift. Okay. So Jack was saying that he wasn't involved in this levy thing at all. He was in it up to his neck. He was one of the co-authors of the levy. Okay. So, but one of the things that just came to me recently, is about a much smaller incident, is we had a friend who said, I looked out the window of Wendy's and it seemed like the head of the caveman was missing. There's some people who'll be upset about that. Others will go, so what? But it occurred to me, well, how do we know that without jumping in the car and driving down there? Well, one of the ways we know, I know this sounds kind of dumb, is that if the head of the caveman in Grants Pass was missing, it'd be all over social, wouldn't it be?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There'd be 57 different pictures from every angle, and yeah.
Now we'd be on,
and there would be some cheering and some expressing outrage. You'd have the whole gamut,
and some guy walking off with both the Pepsis and the head under his shoulder and $50
right.
in cash.
Yes, exactly.
In change, and headed to California with the head. Okay, so it would then be.
What do you get for a caveman's head on the black market nowadays?
$50 and change. So, okay, all right. So it would be on our show at 7:00. We're on every night. This is our 202nd show in a row. We would have it with footage that night. It would be in the Daily Courier 2 weeks later. It would be on the TV stations a week after it was in the Courier.
Oh, I think they'd cover that. They just don't cover any news that has.
They wouldn't know what's happening. Yes. That's my point. They would never know it was happening. We would cover it, but if you want, honestly now, okay, because we show you the internal workings of this thing. You don't have to get your news from us if you don't want to get your news from us. Go get it from Kjo, okay? But you could check some of this out yourself. I didn't want to. What I found was, if you really want to know what's happening on an hour-by-hour basis, if you're that obsessed about this kind of stuff, and obviously Mike and I are to a certain extent, then we also look at social media. Sometimes things like Jack Swift denying he was ever involved in this, even the videotape, even the people that were in the room. I don't recall him saying that. How can you not recall that? Go look at the tape. We would show that to you. But if you really want to know what's going on, like right now, you go to one of these, pardon me, Mike, goofy scanner pages, and there they are. They're looking at, the scanner says it's happening 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, no, the most instantaneous, yes.
Yeah, but it's like cartoons or it's like tuning in? Which one?
Yes, instantaneous news that you could possibly get right now is probably on the scanner page. If it's something that is happening that requires a police response or something like that, you're going to get it on those pages before you get it anywhere.
So not only do we bring you the videotape as soon as we possibly can in the highest quality that we can, and then repost it for you to look at later, and we're on every single day live at 7:00, non-commercial, okay, whatever, blah, blah. Okay, but in addition to that, Mike also covers social media. I post things there on social media, so it increases the number of people who are looking at the videotapes, which are mainly the commissioners blabbing. Okay. And that's how we get more people to watch this. We've doubled our viewership just by putting it out there for people who want to kind of know what's going on right now. That's what we did with the following clip. Here's 2 days ago, we did a story about 2 days ago, yesterday. Boy, all the days are running together. We did a story where we sat down with the sheriff and just this one little 1 minute clip here And then right at the end, as soon as it ends, then roll it back just a little bit, and then we'll talk over him. Here's the 1 minute clip where
hang on, just to
where I'm going to talk while Mike fiddles around with video. And in this particular case, I did most of the talking in this because you're looking at his reactions to what I'm saying. When we sit down with the sheriff, we're not blah 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 the whole time because we're there to talk with him. He does like 12 times more talking than either one of us added to, or both of us added together. But occasionally I'll go on for a little bit longer, and Mike especially, and the sheriff then respond. And now watch his reaction to what it is that I'm saying, the way that I'm saying it. Yes, it's me this time, big deal. And then his reaction at the end. You'll see what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Mike.
We had an awful lot of people who got up, person after person after person, at microphones that were saying, look, this is not about a levy, it's about safety. This is not about money, this is about safety. And now all the emphasis seems to be switched over to, oh, we've got bridges that may fall apart in an earthquake. Really? Really? That is now the new priority? At some point, maybe we'll have bridges fall apart? They said this was an emergency, so much of an emergency that maybe they'd have to call the state to step in and kind of take over. Oh, watch out, the state's going to take over. Is the state going to step in and take over because there's going to be an emergency earthquake? What happened to the emergency?
Brother, I think that reaction is priceless.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was a lot of blah, blah from me, but it was less than a minute. Just relax, okay? So can you roll that back so we can talk over him, at some point, him paying attention? Many times when we were asking him a question, he looked extremely uncomfortable. He's not uncomfortable with us. Yeah. But he is sometimes uncomfortable and trying to say, what happened to all those levy supporters that used to go door to door? Yeah, don't freeze with this mouth open.
No, this is funny. It's funny here. Let me take this back. Now watch this. He takes this big, heavy say, oh, geez, yes. I have to deal with Dale's asking me this question. I don't, here, let's take it back again. Let's see. Now watch it. Deep inhale. Oh, geez, what a
I don't want to have to say what happened to all those people. Where are they? Because we're the anti-level guy. Why are anti-level guys asking for money for this guy? Okay, let's pause it somewhere there, but don't make him look funny. Well, that's okay. Right there. There you go. He looks authoritative there. Okay, so here's some of the things that people said about this posting on social media, because we put it out there for everybody to see. Once we put it out there, more people actually see it because it's on Facebook. And I put it on a couple of different Facebook sites. I've had a couple of people saying, we don't want your kind around here. Don't be, you're wasting everybody's time by showing what the sheriff has to say. Really? What have you seen people say, Mike?
Yeah, similar stuff. I mean, some people are, in his camp, and it's funny because in his camp, that's almost an undefinable thing here, because now the people who were in his camp, during the election, they're sort of missing in action at this point. Yeah. And so he's like an island, he's out there, and he doesn't want to offend these people because he knows he's going to be, having to do business with them in the future. And the
Cherylistas are mad as heck, buddy, because because I had asked him in an earlier part of this, well, where's your liaison? Why is your liaison not even telling you there's a possibility that you can have more money? But she doesn't she's not talking to him. And so the Cheryl supporters, the Cherylistas, I call them, they don't like her being described that way. It's true, but they don't like it.
Well, I have an insider report from the inside of the city council chambers right now. It says it's a pretty exciting meeting, mostly county people objecting right now. And, which is about what we'd expect because, the city people, they vote for the levy every single time. So, why wouldn't they vote for something like this?
Well, as you can see, the sheriff looks comfortable with that.
Well, okay, now here's an interesting scenario.
Just a joke.
Yeah. So let's say, they put this thing on the ballot. Is it going to be put in on the ballot just in the city?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, wow. Well, you know what? Then, boy, I think there's going to be some blowback from county people on this. I mean, if you're going to tax me like this, well, heck, I'm just going to go buy my stuff in another town that doesn't tax me. I mean,
it will never end. It will never end.
Well, and some of these places that are like doing business in the downtown, maybe they can move to Merlin or Cave Junction or something. Or, maybe we can expand Kirby and have that be the centralized location within the county, or Selma. We'll explode the Selma downtown because they don't have a sales tax.
Well, we've both been in meetings, and that one of the people pressing for this is Jay Meredith. He is the city's finance director. He was one of the top guys having to do with SOS and their offshoot Cuffs. And he's one of the main people pushing for this. And they said at some of those meetings, I was there when they said it, maybe what we should do is start off with a very, very small little county tax. And when people vote for that, then we'll start ratcheting it up. They didn't use the word ratchet up, but
yes.
Isn't that what's going to happen here? It's only $2 per million. Come on, don't worry about it.
California people, I can tell you this is what happens.
No, it would never happen here like it did. These people, you should only listen to your government. Don't be listening to this kind of stuff on the internet and Facebook. Come on now.
What is it? Was it Thomas Jefferson that said that, somehow, and I'm going to just murder this thing here, but he said that, you don't lose your freedom all at once, but you do by thousands of little usurpations or whatever. And I'm hatcheting that up, but it was generally that, you're going to suffer the death of 1,000 cuts. This doesn't come as a death blow to you with, they don't come in and whack your head off all at once. They just bleed you slowly until, all of a sudden your eyes stop seeing things. Hey, wait a minute, I'm going blind here.
We've got plenty of people like that now, even after they look at the videotape, even after sitting in that meeting with Jack Swift talking, even after seeing the videotape. I don't know what he said. You don't know what he said? What are you talking about? No, I like him. He's a good guy. Well, he does some good things, and then he also does some bad things. Can you live with the fact that it was like Gil Gilbertson? Some good things, some bad things. Some things over here, I'm a constitutional sheriff, but I have an emergency operations plan that says I can seize your stuff without even leaving you a message.
Nice.
There's no defense about that. Well, I think he's a nice guy at picnics. That's not the point. And so all that we do is we bring you these forbidden videotapes of them talking, and then you get a chance to see them with Cheryl Walker going, don't watch those videotapes. Brother, now why would they take that stand? Why would the Courier take that stand? What a waste of time it is to look at videos of commissioners. They said that. It's a waste of time. We don't want to waste your time. So, Mike, do you have a closing statement to say? Better keep it short. You're wasting people's time.
Yeah, I don't. I think that you probably, if you cared about this, you'd be at the city council chambers right now and not watching this show, or maybe
not watching it live.
Well, yes, that's true, and maybe you are there now, and that and you're going to see this when you get home, and I hope that people are smarter than I think they are. Oh boy, that really sounds bad.
Oh, that boy. There go all of our viewers.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, if people that live in the city vote overwhelmingly, well, at least in the majority, for the levies when they happen. And so if they offer them to not have to pay their own public safety levy, and that they'll, this sewer and water tax increase thing is going to end, they'll buy them off with that. And of course, they're not going to let that go.
Oh no! An emergency is going to come out. Oh, it's an emergency.
Yes.
We have to reinstate it.
No, we have to.
We're
going to keep it for a while.
Yes, right.
we're going to keep it for a while, and then we'll take it off after, because we need to build up a little war chest here. That's how these things go, and I hope that they don't buy into it. Listen, the problem with allowing government to do stuff like this is government is not noble. And we would hope that their motives are noble, but they're not typically. And these are the human frailty exists in these people, and they are going to try to the whole idea. If they can't figure out how to get more money than they're getting right now, then they wouldn't even be involved in any of this if it didn't add up to more money. And which means more money for them to waste on whatever. And certainly some of it will go to legitimate purposes, but much of it will also go to wages and benefits and other things, and expanding departments into useless things that we didn't need before, but suddenly now are, dire necessity.